Hey guys, Bog Turtle here. I guess that's gonna be my name. And Today, coming at you with proof that there is leather in my workshop. But we're not gonna talk about leather today. We're gonna talk about Resident Evil 3. Um, because I just beat it. Not this one. Um, I just beat the remake on Xbox One, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit. And um, it is definitely Resident Evil 3. Um, it you know, it's a game that is in the Resident Evil franchise where you fight zombies, and there's the Nemesis. He's in it. And look, let me give you a little background on me and the Resident Evil franchise. Um, Growing up, video games for me were pretty much what I did if I wasn't playing sports. Um, I was the chubby kid, you know. If you, I'm kind of, you know, finally growing into my body a little bit. But growing up, I was the poor chubby kid. We didn't always get the best nutrition and kind of ate, whatever I could get my hands on. But farm kid, had that like I chopped wood and carried wood and all that. So I guess I'm saying that, because like I played sports as much as I could to get out of the house. I didn't really have a great home life. So whenever I wasn't playing sports, I was in my room playing video games. So I considered myself a gamer, but like, I never. I guess I wasn't. I'm not the kind of gamer that like. I guess really does this where I'm not like a Twitch streamer. I'm not like the guy that you know. But back then, like in high school, I guess I could have been, the Twitch streamer guy who plays video games like as the thing that he did, like as a hobby. So like when I played Resident Evil, I was good enough to play on the difficult modes. I was good enough to beat it and get the S ranks. I was good enough, to play and be actually good at them. When I played Resident Evil 3 the remake, going through it this time, I don't know, maybe I'm cheating myself. I played it on assisted. I'm an old man. I'm not really looking for a challenge. And maybe if I and it was challenging enough for me. I got killed a few times because I was careless a few times because maybe if it was harder on assisted, and it's unassisted. I wasn't looking for it. I wanted to feel like a superhero, like a super cop, like Jill Valentine is supposed to be. And, there was a few times where I did feel like a super cop because I had the assault rifle and I just mowed them down. Um, but, like, I was never really afraid of the Nemesis. But also, when I think back to this one, I was never really afraid of this guy either. In Resident Evil 2, I was scared of like Mr. X. And in the remake of Resident Evil 2, I was kind of scared of Mr. X at first too, until I learned the mechanics around him and like learned to juke and jive him and get around him, and like then he was fun. the tyrant, well, not, he's the nemesis. It's never really fun. He always felt more like a set piece, like that you could just kind of, like he was always meant to drive the story forward more than be an enemy to contend with. Mr. X felt like an enemy to contend with. The nemesis felt like a set piece that drive the story forward. So he was exciting at the beginning of the game to like get you into it, and like he felt like a chase scene, like a car scene would in a movie, you know. So, but like, you know, it's, but also like if you think about the history of this game and where it fits in the franchise and what it kind of was meant to do, like, I'm nitpicking. Like, Resident Evil 3 has always kind of been that game in the franchise that it's a transitional game, like, with the storytelling, with the game mechanics, with everything with the Resident Evil franchise. This game's always been kind of vanilla because of the transitional nature of the game. I'm sorry this video is kind of rambly. This is my first. This is supposed to be a leather crafting channel. Mostly doing this for my friend Garden Charge, who like does video game stuff, and like I just kind of felt inspired to do this, you know, because like getting back to my original point. Hey, if I'm a teacher, and like this is what it's like in my class. You kind of have to take notes just to know where I'm going with my lectures. But all right, so I kind of grew up with the Resident Evil franchise. So PlayStation came out 1998 is kind of a big year for me. That's when I got my PlayStation. 1999-ish, I think, is the actual Christmas that I got my PlayStation. Which, man, lots of games came out in 1998. That's Ocarina of Time, I want to say. Metal Gear Solid. That was, Alright, so we got a copyright in 1999 on here for Resident Evil 3. So that means Resident Evil 2 had to have been 98, which means someone's going to correct me because that's what the internet is for. So let's say Resident Evil was 96? Or maybe, yeah, that sounds right, 96. 97 doesn't sound right. That was maybe director's cut. But man, I played the absolute, just because they were cheap by that time, and I was, you know, working for my dad at that point, and man, like I could get those games just so cheap. Which, man, no, dude, we don't play with charge cables. Let's just plug that in so Jack doesn't eat it. You could be in the video a little more if you want. So Resident Evil 1, I was tardy to the party. Still playing Super Nintendo at that point. Resident Evil 2, you know, I was a little bit late for, but you know, I had still had the hype from all the older kids, you know, and I was only like 8th, 9th grade at this point, so these games, I'm still a little bit too young to be playing. So they're, you know, it's a little bit taboo that I'm playing these games that these older kids are telling me about. And so, yeah, they're kind of scaring the pants off of me too. but like they're all pixelated and stuff still, but like, and they're clunky with the mechanics. You move around like a tank, but like, and like, it's just kind of awful too. The voice acting is bad. The storytelling is still kind of bad, but like, it's also good in a way too, because like, I'm right in that groove of like, this is like my formative years, and like, this is, I'm kind of the target audience for these games. Like, I'm getting all philosophical and ruminating on you, but um, Resident Evil 3 hits, and it's the first Resident Evil that I'm there for the release, and it's so transitional. And like one of the things that's also transitional, I'm the first. This is where also you start to see the deterioration of the game manual. This is I bought it at launch because like Resident Evil 2, that was one of the first decisions that I had to make where I could choose between, like, I remember choosing, I had Resident Evil 2 and I had Final Fantasy 7. And like, do I go Resident Evil 2 or do I go Final Fantasy 7? And like for a ninth grader, for a 14-year-old, 15-year-old young man, in 1998, 1999, Resident Evil 2, Final Fantasy 7, that's a big decision. So I went with Resident Evil 2. I'm still on the fence about the RPG genre at that point, and looking back, thinking about Final Fantasy 7 today, I haven't played the remake. I don't have a PlayStation 4. Honestly, good call, young Rodney. But I remember getting the manual for Resident Evil 3 and busting it out of the case, and oh, it's in black and white, man. I remember thinking, oh no, black and white manual, that's not a good sign. Who puts their manuals in black and white? No, Capcom. You're supposed to have good manuals. Ah. And like, there might have been other manuals before that have been in black and white. But like, this is the first time I remember, like, it's Resident Evil, like, this is a AAA franchise. Like, black and white manual. Da. And I might be misremembering, but like, I don't think so. But like some other transitional things, Resident Evil 3 in the original, not the remake. This is the first time you had the quick turn. Like, that was great. You could finally get away from the zombies quick. You could just, I think it was O. I could look it up. But you press O and back, and you flip around real quick. That was great. You could just get away from the zombies super quick. Let's see. I think this was the one where you could finally just hit a button to go up and down the steps. Like, you didn't have to, like, the tank controls were finally, they were still tank controls, but they were finally like refined-ish. Not quite as good as Code Veronica quite yet, but oh man, do you think maybe? I don't know. So like, I don't read the magazines anymore, especially like since GameStop like starts like foisting that stuff on you, and like I don't read like the publications or the websites anymore. I'm so out of touch. You guys are gonna have to like keep an old man in the loop. Like, what's going on? What? Jack's looking at me weird. Like, like, are they gonna keep remaking Resident Evil stuff? Like, are we gonna get Code Veronica too? That's gonna be awesome. Like, cause Code Veronica, like, that's when I started losing interest in like the franchise after that. Because then, like, Code Veronica, and then Resident Evil 4 hit, and then I was done with tank controls after Resident Evil 4. I just played Resident Evil 4 until the wheels fell off. And, you know, honestly, I still have Resident Evil 4 on the Xbox. So I'll fire it up, and me and Leon will save Ashley. Yeah, I might go do that right now. No, not right now. I, maybe, actually. Kind of want to do it now that I've mentioned it. Um, so, still don't know how to end videos. Like, subscribe, do all the internet stuff. I guess you can't really share this with your mom, I guess. She probably won't get a whole lot out of this one. Hey, let me. This is how Disco Helmet kind of turned out. Like, you can't really see the colors, but it's looking good. I got my marble thing, so we're gonna start doing some leather soon. Uh, Learn you up some stuff. Share this with your mama. I don't know. 17 minutes in, first video game review. Have a great day.